Ladies and gentlemen, this presentation is brought to you by The Greatness Continues LLC. And you are now tuned into the greatest conversations, starring Greasy Two Times, Shaka the Wise, Sensei J, the Masked Man, Big Z, and your host, D.
And we got our new star here, Double A.
What's good?
Pew, 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 pew. In the building.
Yeah.
Right, we'll edit that in post.
Let's get edited, right?
Sound effect.
Y'all got that stimulus check yet, though?
Right.
Sneaker.
But it said it should be here before the end of the month.
That's what he says. He said he's gonna
Somebody
he said he's
listen to
gonna
the
have
bell,
it
right?
back in
Bro,
January.
then they just passed it.
Yeah,
And then
They finally came to
I don't think it's
an
done passing.
agreement.
No, I thought it got passed today, this morning.
But he still has to sign it.
But
Is the last step.
he cut out the upper working middle class. So if you and your wife are in that upper echelon of middle class, you know what I'm saying? Like a lot of y'all poor don't know this, you know, but like you and your wife on average make about $60,000 a year. That's like a lot, but y'all not getting it. So yeah, you guys can go
60,000
$60,000 a year. Yeah.
single or like?
If you make $60,000, your wife makes $60,000.
Yeah.
That's a combined of
Yeah.
120.
Okay, I get what you're saying.
Y'all not getting the
Right.
Yeah.
That's too much money buying.
Bro, you know what they also.
So are you sure it's just complete? Because it
That's a lot
seemed like
less.
from what I was reading that
It's individually
they're
make
pushing
less
out
than
a certain
75K.
amount. Like if you make under a certain amount individually or
Individually
in a group,
75K.
or like
I think
as a
together,
couple,
what is
So
that you get a certain amount and you get it by a certain time.
Individually, it's low key kind of high. So I can, I understand now. Like I think it's like 80,000,
75K?
75K. So individually, 75K. That's only 5,000 more for the couple. So I mean, individually, if you make it 75K,
I feel like they'll be petty and be like 120.
Yeah.
Or 120K, right? But the couple, it's 110K is the cutoff.
That's decent.
And what they make, but
I don't
the
think that's
couple
being
makes
paid
120.
the couple together, 70 and 70. That's 140. So
Yeah.
Bro, if you're a couple, you're making 120K combined. You have like maybe one or two kids. That's more than livable.
Yeah. Well, and then you get like 3,600.
Assuming that you have a
That's
low.
well off.
No, but they're in that same,
They
same
kept
tax
that.
bracket though. They're in the middle class tax bracket, so they're getting heavily taxed. Just like if you don't make any money and you get taxed, you're getting money back. But if you're in that upper echelon and you're just getting all the taxes, like you're not getting shit. So yeah, you may have two kids, you make all this money, but you're not pocketing shit.
But bro, if they're doing the taxes right, they should be getting all that money back.
What do you mean?
I'm assuming
If you make up to a certain threshold, I think it's actually 75,000.
Yeah.
You start owing money.
Yeah, you start owing money. So
You don't get
they're
it
the ones who are going to be hurting more. Because
see,
not only are they
I-
owing money,
that's
But
why-
you also get money
that's
for
why
every
people-
kid in the household. So like from 0 to 5 years old is you get like $3,600 for each kid, and then I think the cutoff is like to 17 years old you get like a certain amount too.
Yeah, but if you're so let's say that you're a couple and just from being a couple you're disqualified from that threshold. But if you have kids, you have dependents, then you're getting money for those dependents, right?
yeah, but you got what taxes and this don't take account for is like the cost of living for somebody and their wife that they spend on their kids. A person who makes that type of money isn't going to spend the same amount on their kids' education and on their lifestyle as somebody who's the same tax bracket but lower.
Right.
So people can easily say like, well, maybe you should save your money, but then it's like, well, I can say the same to you.
Yeah,
but you just get a
I'd
better
never
tax.
say that, though.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
If y'all talk about taxes though and getting it back, I feel like that person that's making that money, should be
so-
educated enough to get some type of tax breaks.
Yeah.
So that
That's
way
what
they
I was
are
looking
able
at,
to
too.
get some money back.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah,
So they should be breaking even.
Jerome, so like this, they said that the COVID relief bill passed, $1,400 stimulus checks, of course, then $300 a week jobless benefits, the unemployment, I'm assuming, child allowance up to $3,600, and then a $350 billion state and local aid, $34 billion for ACA subsidies, $14 billion vaccine distribution.
So here's what I'm reading, and it's what you guys were saying. If you're single, you're disqualified at 80,000. If you're considered a head of household, you're disqualified at 120,000.
Yep.
If you are married, you're disqualified at 160. So
I
it's
think
saying 1,400 for 75,000 single
Because like,
taxpayer.
where do you think this money's coming from? It's like I don't want to sound, stringent on nobody, but the money that people are getting this stimulus check, it's low key their money. Like some of that money, it's theirs. That's why they're not going to get it because they're paying taxes.
They're paying the majority.
Yeah, it's like.
Well, but this is basically this is the ideal situation of why we pay taxes, though, right? For something like this to happen.
I
Because
mean,
the people that really need it are getting it.
I thought we paid taxes more so because it's easier for a collective to accomplish things. Than
Exactly.
that's
But
why.
that's
why.
But the collective isn't.
That's why. But in a crisis scenario, this is a
but
great.
This would be included.
But the collective isn't paying taxes.
Right.
It's literally
Our
only the
taxes
working
are
middle
supposed to
class.
advance
Like
our
for example, why?
Right, well, you
No, hear
can't
me out.
expect it
Why does somebody who has Section 8, which means they make bare minimum money, their home is paid for, need a stimulus check? If the government's paying for your lifestyle, why do you need pocket money? Why do you need it? There's no reason. You're not paying for anyway. You're not working. They're giving you food. They're giving you money, and they're gonna give you however much extra money in pocket for you to do what? Spend all over again.
You gotta take COVID into.
No, but if you because they get unemployment.
He trying to say they're giving it to you no matter what you do.
Yeah, they're giving you no matter what. So it's like, why?
That's an interesting point.
Why do you think you deserve? Like majority of people who are crying about their stimulus check. The majority, I'm not saying everybody, but the vast majority of big VCs.
They don't need
a lot of people.
They don't need money. They need,
a lot of people
need access to resources.
I don't know about
and
the majority.
opportunities.
Yeah, a lot of people at big ZC are broke crying when the stimmy coming, and it's like get a fucking job, and they use COVID as an excuse. But listen,
but you're saying get a job when acting like they have access to resources like everybody else does.
You got 24 hours in a day. You don't work. You don't do shit but sit on your ass in Section 8 and food stamps, and you don't got time to do shit. You don't got resources. Like, what are you doing all day? Y'all can watch Power, Facebook. Y'all can have all this shit.
It's a great show.
Shout out to Power for being a great show.
Right.
But that's beside the point. All right,
Curtis Jackson, you
get a
dog.
trade, paint a house,
Yeah.
spray power.
Hold up.
Yeah, because you're making multiple points right now.
Yeah, you're.
This is what
I think it's very important to distinguish who these broken are, because it's easy to say you got 24 hours in a day. What are you doing? Like, why aren't you doing something? But also, who is this individual that has 24 hours a day?
Right.
What are they doing? And
they know who the.
So you gotta,
honestly,
you gotta separate the people who actually need, I guess, government assistance.
But listen,
It's kind of hard. We do need to, but it's kind of hard to separate it.
Taking away the stimulus conversation,
We can't
just
separate.
talking about government assistance in general, for people who have
It's
gotten
hard.
injured or anything medical or something like that where they can't work anymore, obviously, they're gonna need government assistance. Yeah, they don't need extra stimulus money if they're still getting.
But let me speak on this.
their assistance, but they're not the people to consider in the category of people just flexing the system.
So wait, quick question. So if you're not working, if you live in Section 8 housing, you're not. And going off your point, you're not working. You're not doing anything, right, for the whole year. So you would get stimulus if you filed your taxes in 2019, right? But if you weren't working, what would you have to file?
Listen,
so would you actually get the
kids,
stimulus?
they get their kids
They
to
do.
get them $5,000
They
in
do.
pocket money, and they fucking buy dumb shit.
But
Speak it to us, Shaka.
the thing
Speak it to
is,
us, Shaka.
first of all, that's why in our first podcast we talk about what to do when we get that money, right, to get ourselves out of that situation. of being like financially aware mentally.
Yeah.
Second of all, even though it's hard to separate them, we do have to have a mindset like the people that need it and people that don't, because some people do need it. The problem that I see is the government focus. The government influence our minds to say that we need it. And if you ever notice about people that are on Section 8 and need welfare, if you're making more money, they take you off of it. So they kind of give us this mentality where, you know, you can get taken care of if you just remain living like this, if you remain like living in a certain way. And I think that's the problem, because if people did get that type of stimulus and they're like, okay, they went across some people and they learn how to invest it, then it would get people out of that. But we do gotta understand that people's mindset is stuck in that because of how the government advertises it. But I think that is an interesting point, because I think that it's weird that we are in this predicament to where we are constantly just waiting for money to come to us, when we need to also be thinking about ways that we could allow our money to work for us and allow us to get money in different ways, so that way we don't always have to rely on the government. And I think it's weird that the government just be giving this much money when we needed it before.
It's made up.
And
it's
they was
a facade.
like, and they was
This
like,
money
we don't
shit's
have enough money. They do have enough money.
Listen,
they just print more.
Listen, the government.
We had that conversation.
Big
That's all they do.
Big Z remembers when he first met The Greatness Continues, and Big Z was
about to say
anti.
Bobby.
And Big Z was anti.
Take that coin.
Right, and Big Z was having this conversation with Shock of the Wise, and I was like, nah, don't need reprimands because they don't know how to. They got money already and know how to do it. And he was like, he gave us some big points. We're not gonna go into detail. And I was like, well, we don't got the money. America don't got. Long story short, America don't got the money. But then 2020 comes and America's just money, and I'm like, well then where the reprimands? Why can't we just give $5,000, $10,000 and be like,
we pump trillions into those fighter jets.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we spend so much money on other shit. And I'm not here to say what the government does and does not have, but I just find it really weird that they suck so much money out of the middle class. Tell the poor, I'm just gonna call them, they, whoever, the poor class, they take care of them. And then the 1%ers and all these up here just have all this money and all these tax write-offs that they just glorifying. And while is trying to make a profit, I'm getting taxed like a whore in a whorehouse trying to make $1. Big Z don't like it. Big Z don't like it. Big Z don't like working 40 hours a week, looking at my check, and I make, at the end of the week, I'll make, $400, and they're like, we're taking $150.
Right.
Let me ask you a question.
Reparations.
Reparations.
I don't think that.
Let me ask you a question first. You ever been to a whorehouse?
You know it's illegal, right? You do know that's illegal. You're asking me a question that will incriminate my integrity. Big Z has never been. Big Z has never been to a whorehouse.
It just popped to my head.
Big Z watch a lot of TV.
Yeah, I didn't get taxed at the whorehouse.
Big Z watch a lot of TV.
How the whores get taxed?
It's legal in Nevada. Big Z never been there, though. Big Z don't, Anyway, what you
I was just about to say, I understand the concept, but I don't think that it's easily accessible to give everybody reprimands or reparations, whatever it is. Whatever it is, because because you gotta understand, there's a lot of people that's black that's over here that wasn't enslaved over here, that came over. You know what I mean? There's a lot of that, and how we there's a lot of